Welcome to RDO Podcast. You have officially joined the resistance. I'm your host, Eric Fontaine, and today I'm here with Daniel A. Crooks. Daniel, how's it going, man?
It's great, man. It's great to be here, man. I was looking forward to doing this interview with you too, as well. You know, we're birthed from the same place, so
Yeah,
definitely, yeah, yeah, yes, man. I'm really glad to be here. Really, it's a pleasure.
it's
Definitely.
great to have you, man. I'd like to give an opportunity for you to just introduce yourself to the audience, kind of tell them who you are, what you're doing, what you're about, and we'll go from there.
Sure, no problem, man. Again, my name is Daniel Crooks. I'll give you a little briefing of my past. Of my working past anyway. I was a carpenter for about 15 years of my life. I'm 38 years old right now. So 15 years of my life, I was a carpenter. Before that, I had some jobs right out of high school. My education background, wasn't the best when it comes to like post-secondary, right? So construction, 15 years, did that. Had my own business doing that. I had a couple of failures in Jamaica. My family's Jamaican. So I had a couple of failures with business in Jamaica too, as well.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Yeah. So I was in between the construction and trying to find another niche, trying to find my way out of the construction of the hard labor. So I had a 8-bedroom hotel in Jamaica, and I had a hot dog cart, believe it or not, in Jamaica, man, which was pretty cool. Good,
Good.
awesome. Yeah, it was an awesome experience, man. I'll get into that a little bit later. And yeah, yeah, it was actually a really good experience, man. I met from people all over the world. And so now, right now, what I'm doing right now, my main thing is leadership development. So I help develop leaders in the business I'm in right now, which is fundraising. So I work with a lot of about 50 different major charities across the globe, international charities, but we work with them here in Canada from Toronto, right? So, and what we do is we help build leaders through the business of charity work, which is pretty cool. Right? So I
That's
like
awesome.
that. Yeah, it's something that's really, it's taught me a lot. It's taught me a lot because I've learned how to become a leader myself through this and through all my past experiences as well, right? So that's something that's very, very important to me. And I've learned the best part of leadership for me is the service to others, right? That's something that's very dear to my heart. Very, very, very important.
Definitely, man. That's what's up. And you know, you kind of as you go through your own journey, you kind of
Yeah,
learn to sort out the fakes from the real ones pretty much instantly. Because
of course.
if all I hear people talk about is their success, it's like,
Yeah,
nah,
yeah.
man, not buying
100%,
it.
man.
It's
Not,
all in the failure. It's
you know
all in
what?
the failure.
Exactly. And a lot of people, yeah, they have to understand that vulnerability is where you draw people in. That's where people want to
Yep.
listen to you because they understand, like me, man. Like if I heard somebody was passing all the time, I wouldn't want to listen to that. I'd be scared to listen to that guy. I'd be like, okay, like what value am I gonna get from this guy? Because he's talking about his win, 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 win. You know what I mean?
Right.
And I'd feel a little intimidated to listen to that guy, which I was intimidated to listen to these guys. You know what I mean? So
And it's hard
definitely,
to sort out. It's hard to sort out who's legit, who's blowing smoke. If all we hear about
yeah.
is all the wins and the millions of dollars and all that, how everything went perfect, from
Exactly.
day one. Yeah. So I love it. I love the intention you bring in and where you're coming from with your own past experience. So
Of
what's
course.
what's the main focus right now? You're obviously doing the podcast. What's your
Yeah.
day look like?
So my day, as a business owner and what I'm doing right now, I've worked my way from the bottom to where I can actually have time to for myself to actually start this podcast, but I also give my time and my service to my team and the people that are in business first, right? And then they see the opportunity, they see where I've come from, right? And that's going to give them the drive to want to do more as well, right? So I can actually now take half my week and put it towards thriving in the six, which is my podcast, right? And really gather some really good content 3 days, 4 days out of the week. And the first 3 days of my week, which is Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, I focus on my business in whole, right? So the podcast is something that's coming up and coming. That's my it's going to be my second baby. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But the first one I'm still working on. I'm still working on the business I'm in now, right now, which is the business I'm always going to be working on. That's my baby too. It's my number one baby, right?
You
But
should be. You should be.
yeah,
It's always
my
a work in
main,
progress. Yeah.
yeah, thank you so much. My main goal is just to provide as much value to the marketplace as possible to anybody. That's why, when I heard your story, that's why I wanted to come on this podcast. This story, it inspired me, man, and your story is awesome. It's an awesome story. I don't know if you want to tell it again, but I'd like to hear.
Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah.
So where did you hear, and what part of it stuck out to you? Because
You
I've
know
done
what,
like
man?
little vlogs. I've been on other
A
people's
lot.
podcasts. Yeah,
A
I don't
lot.
know.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was I heard the story from when I guess it was the very first episode you've done.
Okay.
And the story was just your childhood, man. It was it it hit home to me too as well, because I didn't grow up like I come from a hardworking family, right? And my mother, she single mother, you know what I mean? My dad, he was around, but he was doing his working thing, man. Like I don't hate on my dad for anything, you know what I mean? He could have been there a lot more, but it kind of reminded me of what you were going through, or what you've gone through, to add that to that drive and that your why now, you know what I mean? And
Yeah.
I see the hunger in you, right? And I was like, you know what, I want to be on this guy's show, man. So that yeah.
That's awesome, man. I'm
Yeah,
glad. First of all, I'm glad it had a positive impact, and
for sure.
it's always humbling to hear when something's had an effect like that. So appreciate
100%.
that,
Yeah.
that feedback on that.
Mhm.
Well, that's great, man. And so now you're here. Now we're
I'm
having this
here.
conversation, and
Conversation.
now even more opportunity to reach people who may be going through those similar situations, and trying to find the light at the end of the tunnel, trying to find some outlet, to head towards something greater, to focus on something
Of
greater than
course.
themselves, to
Of
find
course.
purpose. So,
Exactly. And one
yeah.
thing that is important to understand is that you're always going to be looking, man. You're always going to be
Yeah.
finding new things. You're always going to be, as long as you're moving, you're not stagnant, and you're moving in the right direction, which your feelings will definitely help you in that direction too as well. Because, and I'm speaking off experience here too, right? I'm not regurgitating anything I got out of a book or anything like that, because I've
Yeah.
come I've come a ways, man. You know what I mean? I've even gotten in trouble with the law a few times too, right? So when I was younger too as well, right? So that helped
So
me.
tell us about that.
Oh man. Which time? you
Whichever
know,
one's the worst.
I would say they were all, I didn't say they were the worst, because it's actually helped mold me who I am today.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It helped teach me and to show me what I don't want, so I can turn my back on that and focus on what I do want. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
You know what I
because
mean?
a lot of people they spiral down. They
Yeah,
start getting in trouble, and then it kind of snowballs in the wrong direction. So from what I gather, you've had your run-ins, your mistakes, and you've kind of used that to analyze yourself objectively, and actually go the other way. So it's
of
been more of a
course,
learning curve for you.
of course.
So
But however, like, because the first time I ever got in trouble was 19 years old, and it was all basically like assaults and stupid things, right? Like bar fights and stuff like that.
yeah,
And there was a spiral. Trust me, there was a spiral. You know what I mean? Um, but it took some rock bottom. That's what it usually takes for people to actually wake up, and I call
yep,
it shake up and wake up, right? Um, it took the rock bottom which was not too long ago. Actually, it was probably about, I'd say, 7 years ago. I'm 38 now, so it's 6 or 7 years ago,
okay,
right? For my last, for that last time for me to say, okay, I'm sick and tired of this. I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired of this. You know what I mean?
yep,
So, and then, and this is going to be a shocker too. Like, my wife now, she's actually a retired police officer, right? So yeah,
You're
yeah,
trying.
man. So
You were working
trust me.
on like your get out of jail free card, and you were setting that
Yeah,
up. You were looking ahead.
yeah, you know what I mean? So just going through these times and understanding that you're headed somewhere, you know what I mean? You just got to keep pushing through and realize your mistakes, understand the mistakes, because it's only a mistake if it happens twice, right? You have to really understand that, and I was making mistakes because it was happening more than once, happening
Yep.
6 times, you know what I mean? So I had to actually, step out of the bubble, analyze, self-analyze, ask myself questions. Is this what I want to be? And then, and I made some decisions like getting rid of some of the crowds I was with, and some of the crowds I was with, some of the guys I was with, I can't blame it all on them. I am the one that creates everything in my life, but that creation of the people that I was hanging out with, I had to get rid of it. I
Yep.
had to get rid of that to move forward. You know what I mean? And I believe that if we want to step back to my childhood now, so I believe that the way I was growing up, because I didn't really have much, I had to fend for myself, if you will, because my mom had 3 boys, single parent. You know what I'm talking about, right?
Yep.
And so I had to basically find everything on my own. You know what I mean? And if I wanted something fancy, I had to get it. So I started hanging out with the wrong crowds. You know what I mean? To get what I wanted. You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
Trying to take
So
the easy route, the quick route.
yeah, and
Yeah.
then that spiral just kept happening, right? But now I'm out of it. I'm a business owner. Now I know what to teach the young guys not to do. You
Right.
know what I mean? And now if a young guy comes into my office, because I deal with a lot of young guys too, right? They come into the office with that same kind of head on their shoulders, I'll know how to deal with that. And
Yeah.
that's the blessing. That's the blessing, man. That's the blessing. Trust me. Yeah.
And it's hard to speak on these things and advise someone who's going through that if you've never been through it yourself. So,
Exactly. Exactly.
it's just kind of more experience, more qualification under your belt to be able to help, from that position.
Of
So
course. Of course.
that's excellent, man. So that said, what was the turning point for you?
The turning point for me, I would say there's a few of them actually, man. I I was born with 2 brothers. I now have one older brother. My younger brother passed away. Um, he passed away suddenly for some heart issues. You know what I mean? So that was a huge turning point in my life as well. Because I saw what it did to my mother, and the feeling. It wasn't the feeling of him passing away because I know he's going somewhere better, right? It was just the feeling of watching the pain of other people, right? Especially with my mom, my brother, my family, my grandmother, which she's still alive in Jamaica right now. The pain I'd see, that was a huge turning point for myself too as well. I have a 12-year-old boy, right? 12-year-old son. He was born 12 pounds, huge baby. That was a huge turning point in my life as well. So these, you know, in the beginning, I didn't want to let these people down. You know what I mean? I wanted to make sure that my son has a father where he can actually talk about. You know what I'm saying? In
Yeah.
a good way. In a good
Right.
way. In a good
Right.
way. And I wanted to make sure that my mom understood that you have 2 boys left, and I'm gonna do my best to make sure that I'm my best for you. You know what I'm saying? So you can have somebody to talk about. You know what I mean? A good son to talk about. Because my older brother was in trouble too as well. We've all caused trouble. You know what I mean? So I wanted to make sure that I was, that guy where just to make that turning point. So my mother can have somebody look at my son, the people that were important to me, that can, and my wife too is now. I'm married with my wife, so these are all huge turning points in my life, right? For sure. Um, and that made me wanted to do more in business too, as well. You know what I mean, and help the youth the young youth in the business community. You know what I'm saying? So it's something that's very important to me. That was a huge turning point in my life.
Yeah. There's there's something about, facing the reality of our own mortality that I think causes a shift for most of us.
Of
Some
course,
people learn harder or learn differently than others, but I see that a lot. I see looking at that realization that, hey, not only is someone counting on me, but life is short and nothing's guaranteed,
Nothing's
so
guaranteed. Exactly.
it kind of instills, at least in me, an obligation to really go hard, go all in with what I've got, because I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. I don't know what's going to happen next year, and I'm not going to operate out of fear, but I feel an obligation. I feel a responsibility to do what I can when I can with what I've got. So
Of course.
I
And
see
you know
that in
what?
you.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that. And what's important to me is actually, I understand that through some of the books I read and that I'm reading and I constantly go back to, I actually have one right here. I can show it to you. It's from Wayne Dyer, Wishes Fulfilled. You should get it. It's a really good book, man. I understand that I have a purpose here. I have a purpose. My purpose is to serve, especially young, whether black, white, doesn't matter, young males, females, young people, man. And I understand that the issues and circumstances and the stuff I created for myself in the past was there to help me understand how I can help people in the future. You understand what I mean? Does that make sense?
Yeah. I
Oh,
mean, in your own words, it sounds like everything happens for a reason. You know,
100%,
you
100%.
take that, you run with it, and you do what you're destined to do with it.
Exactly. So like if you look at things, and I know a lot of people would say, this happened to me or this happened because of that guy. Well, they have to understand these things happen because of you. You are the creator of everything that happens in your life, right? And you're creating these things for a reason, right? These things are it's like a stepping stone for the next level. You know what I mean? And I understand that the stuff that I used to do in the past is just helping me become a better person so I can become a better person for the future, right? To help others, right? Definitely.
So, what is your process within your business? And I want to ask because for someone listening right now, this could be something that they could seek out if there's another business like this near them, or maybe they're in your area, or maybe they, in their own turning point, they may take inspiration from what you're doing and go out and do the same. So, walk us through how do you provide service um, to individuals who are needing this guidance and needing this help and direction?
Okay, well, what we do is we talk to people. What we do is we're in the business development. So when a charity needs to get donations, we are the ones that go out there and solicit these donations, right? So we're talking to everybody face to face, and the people that come in looking for work, sometimes they have experience. Most of the time, they don't. We teach them how. The number one thing is how to deal with people on a professional level, especially when it's coming to transactions, right? So the transaction is, you are helping them understand the problems out there that are with charity, like say World Vision or whatever, anything like that. And then they solicit that donation and they give them that feeling of satisfaction. And then we take the funds and bring it to the charity. Does that make sense?
Gotcha.
So yeah, so we have a system in place where the teams they start off as entry level and they go through the business as leader. We have leader, team leader, manager, then director. Directors where you actually become a business owner, have your own location, and then you have the executive director and the vice president level. And working your way through that is not an easy thing. You got a lot of ups and downs. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And it's teaching you the whole way. It forces you to, if you're not a guy that reads books and you really see your opportunity to make money or opportunity to become a leader, opportunity to own your own business, whatever it is, it's going to force you to actually pick up a book in the direction you want to get to and do that. You know what I mean? Right now, I'm actually at the executive director level, which is it's taken me about 4 years to get to. Now I can actually, when I have these young guys come in and I see them, and I just feel it from them. You know what I mean? And I know where they're at. You know what I mean? I know what they want, and depending on how long they're here for or whatever, whatnot, right? So the whole point is just to build as many leaders as possible in this business, for me anyway, and whatever they want to take it to after that is fine. If they, whatever their goals are, is what I'm going to help them with. You know what I mean? I'm not going to attach my goals to what they want. Does that make sense? Yeah. So whatever they want is what they want. I'm just here to let them know you can get there through this business. If you want to stay here with me and stay under my wing for the rest of your life, you can do that too. You know what I mean? But if you want to use this business to stack your bank account, sure, go ahead. If you want to use the business to, help your parents or whatever your goals are, I'm going to help you with that. And that's what this is about. Right.
Gotcha. So it sounds like it's kind of an outlet or a medium, I should say, of character development. They don't have any specific direction necessarily imposed on them, but what they put into it is what they get out of it.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah. 100%. That's actually a really good way to put it. Right.
Love it. So
sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Like when I first started in the business, I wasn't big on books. I wasn't big on reading at all, and I actually picked up the first book I picked up was Asking It Is Given. Really good book. It's a spirituality book. It teaches you about your spirituality and the universe and all that stuff. Have you heard of it? Or
I've heard the title. I haven't read that one. But
no?
Go ahead. Tell me a little more about it.
Yeah. So I pick up that's the very first book I picked up, and I felt like a huge weight was lifted off my shoulders. I felt like as soon as I read the book, I just felt I felt clean. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I don't know if it does when you get that clarity, when you get that some dots connected, you know what I mean? There's an enlightenment there. Yeah.
Of course. And I felt clean. I felt pure. I felt like I was born again almost. I couldn't tell you, right? And then I started building momentum with the reading of the books, and I started understanding like the more you learn, the better opportunity for you to learn, to earn. Sorry, I should say. The more you earn, the more you learn, right? The more you learn, the more you earn. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just tongue twister. But and I started building momentum there, and that feeling alone, I just want to be able to share that with others, right? And that's basically what it is, right? It's like a drug.
So, yeah, I found out I'm a workaholic over the last few years. It's like, if you're doing something that you actually enjoy doing, you should be a workaholic. Obviously keep like work-life balance. But
of course,
yeah, once you get on to something where you're passionate about it and you find it rewarding, that's why I like the Start With Why. By Simon Sinek. I may be pronouncing his last name wrong.
Start With Why. My partner would know. He has like a whole stack of books, man.
That's his philosophy. And I came across it later, after I already had my why, but it still helped, it was still a level of clarity within that yes, you need a reason. You can't tell someone just, hey, read all these books. You got to start with why.
And it has to come from them.
Yeah. Yeah, you can't give that to anyone.
Yeah, no.
It's unique for every person. Family 100%. Was a big deal for me. My son being born, he's 5 now. That gave me just an endless source to draw from. But even before that, I knew like I don't want to keep living like this. Like I don't want to be broke when I'm 70. I don't want to be dependent on a system or other people to tell me how my life's going to go. Like, exactly. I got to get some freedom going on here.
Of course.
So
and that's one thing that we push to as well. Time freedom is something that's huge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think that does it. That's the tipping point for a lot of people is when they realize, hey, wait a minute, like I can empower myself. The more I learn, the more I take action, the more I stumble forwards, I can actually get what I want and help other people.
Exactly.
Because some people are trapped in this mindset or this paradigm that life is a game that you can't win, that you can never win, and it's just terrible and unfair, and this happened and that happened, and
things are happening to them. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's easy to get down and be like, well, I'm just going to do whatever I want whenever I can, and just, take advantage where I can, because life's not fair anyway. But that's kind of a dead end. And I think, like you mentioned, you got to hit that rock bottom in order to maybe have some ground to stand on, so to speak, and kind of go from there.
100%, man. Yeah. You know what? That has, it should happen in most cases. To be honest with you, anybody I've ever met or anybody that I've ever studied, um, one of my favorites is Grant Cardone. His story is amazing. You know what I mean? It just makes you want to get up and go do, like, if you are in the gutter and you hear his story and you see where he is now, it makes you want to get up and just do a backflip and go do your thing. Right.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, and that's the inspiration where that is my why, man. Like, I see that and I see these guys. I'm like, man, if these guys are doing it, what's stopping me? The
Yep.
only thing stopping me is the space between my thoughts. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? It's my thoughts. That's the only thing that's stopping me, man. And you got to really understand and appreciate, and really, like, sometimes I'll be on social media, and I really appreciate the culture and some of the information and some of the time these guys are putting in and the value they're adding, in the 2-minute snippet they have. You know what I mean? Some people do not appreciate it the way they should. You understand what I'm saying?
100%, man. That's what's been the game changer for me. If there was
Yeah.
no YouTube, I wouldn't
Yeah.
be here. I wouldn't
You
be
know what?
here in this state
Exactly.
right now. Like, being able to peer into someone else's life, someone else's perspective, just whatever they're sharing, could be life story, business insight. I don't care.
Of course.
Any information in any form is going to be of value. I
You know
mean,
what?
hands down. And so I have a lot of respect. And that's a big part of what compelled me to start this podcast,
Of course.
extend my journey in this direction. And I know it makes all the difference.
100%. We're here to serve people, man. No matter
That's
how
it.
you look at it. That's our. And you know what? That's how I believe that I'm a strong believer in the universe too, right? And that's how the universe gives you more to do more, is when you're doing it in a service to others.
That's
You
it.
understand what I'm saying? So this is something that's very key. Like, even this business, this podcast that you started, that I've started, this is not even the end all be all. This is just the beginning.
This is it.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
when
that's it.
I'm writing my goals down, I'm like writing at the end. My goal is to get known, right? And millions of followers, millions of likes, whatever it is. And the reason for that is because the more people that are liking and following, the more content I can find and push out, and just, it doesn't matter if I'm just getting one person, man. If I have, let's say, I don't know, 50 million views, and out of those views, I touch one life, that's all that matters, man. I'm doing my job.
That's it. And you
You
never
understand what
know
I'm
who that one person is going to be. You never know what
Yeah,
that one person is going to do. They could have been on the edge. They could have been on the
exactly.
brink, and you grabbed them by the shirt and pulled them back. And
100%.
that's the crazy thing about this is, I've spoken with some other guests, and we've even spoken in the group a couple of times about, sociologists estimate today that even the most introverted of people will directly influence at least 10,000 people
Yeah,
over the course of their life.
of
Now,
course.
multiply that exponentially through the internet, which we don't fully understand. I mean, YouTube, podcast, we
It's a
can't measure
science.
this yet. Yeah.
It's a science. It's a science. I mean,
It's,
it's always evolving, man. It's
yeah.
crazy.
And for people to hear this stuff, to understand, hey, you can start at zero, you can start at less than zero. It's okay. Like, real people are going through this. Real people
Yes,
have been there,
of
and
course.
they've come up from that. And I think that's all it takes, just
And
to
that
be able
word,
to take one look at that and understand, well, if he can do it, I can do it.
and that's the one word you just used that really hits home too well, is that word real. You have to be real, man. You have
Yeah.
to be real. And people, they have to understand that, you know what? if you're getting likes because you're showing the fancy car and they're showing the nice house, man, and you've never done anything before, that's the wrong way of doing it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? A lot of people are very, I should say, and I shouldn't say a lot of people. I was taught one of my mentors actually I'd see him, great guy, making some really good money, but the leadership that he would teach wouldn't really show the vulnerability side of things. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And for someone like me in the beginning, I was into it, I was young, came into the business, whatever. And I was into it, but it didn't really sit home with me. You know what I mean? What really got me to listen to somebody was hearing how hard it was for them. You know what I mean? And I'd find 10, 20 different people with little pieces of me in them. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
And yeah, man. And these are things that I will never forget. And I will always be able to teach somebody without having to write it down on a piece of paper.
Yep.
You understand what I'm saying?
What you're talking about right there, that's the transcendent element of personal growth and development.
Yeah.
When you hear something that resonates so strongly with you that it literally changes the essence of your being. And
of course,
we're starting to realize scientifically that actually has an effect on your DNA. Like that, in terms of epigenetics, this activates different DNA sequences, and we don't fully understand this yet. But there's some greatness within you that comes out in response to what you're doing. And you see it when someone lights up. We can't really explain it, but there's some energetic response happening, and they literally, you see their eyes light up. You see it might even come to tears over something, just out of relief, out of inspiration, whatever it may be. But there is a power there that is, I would say, it's more overlooked in the past, but I think people are starting to wake up. And you kind of talked about, that there's some so-called leaders or gurus or whoever they may be out there, kind of trying to take advantage of the success, business, personal improvement market. But at the same time, I believe same thing, universal laws. For every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. There's,
of course,
it's the law of duality, and there's a balance taking place there with the phony stuff as well. People are kind of like, they don't want that, the Lamborghini, Ferrari. You got 12 Ferraris in your driveway. That people aren't buying it anymore. They realize exactly the market's been flooded with all this fake stuff, and they really are looking for real content from real people. And I love them or hate them. I mean, I think that's why we see someone like Joe Rogan, standing out at the top of this game. You might not agree with everything that he says, but he's a prime example in my mind of just keeping it real.
Keeping it real, man.
Yep.
That's it. That's it.
Not selling you anything. It's just, here it is.
And I also understand that everybody's on their journey, right? Everybody's on their journey. If people learn in their own stages, you know what I'm saying? What I hope when this podcast, and to any of the listeners out there, is to take in that the realness and how far realness can get you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
At whatever speed that you want to take, right? Realness goes a long way. Real recognizes real. Put it that way.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's what I always say.
Yeah.
And that's it. And with that authenticity, it's not like it's just for other people. It's not a sales tactic. Authenticity, it directly benefits you more than anyone. When you start living with the mode of authenticity, you're taking care of yourself. You're being real with yourself.
Of course.
It's not always fun.
Of course.
You gotta look in the mirror. You gotta face the hard truths. You gotta start solving your problems. And that's what happens,
You're saying all the right things, man. Like, first of all, if we want to bring it to the monetary standpoint, we get paid on problem solving. That's how
Yep.
we get paid.
Yep.
That's how we get paid. So when you become a really good problem solver, you get paid. But the first problem you got to solve is your own.
Exactly.
You got to be selfish to get unselfish. You know what I'm saying? You got to take care of yourself and know yourself before you can start helping other people.
Yeah. It's like they say, you got to put your mask on first,
Yeah,
the old
it,
airplane.
the old
Yeah.
If I had $1 for every time I heard that, man, I'd end world hunger, man. I'll tell you that.
Yeah. So that's true, though. I mean, you got to take care of you first. And in order to take care of you, you got to keep it real with yourself. You got to operate out. You got to get a clear vision, and you have to start somewhere. And if you're at zero, start there. There's no shame in that.
Yeah.
You start at zero, and you actually, instead of, turning your head, not trying to face it, not trying to face the reality, you're still going to be at zero next week, next year, 10 years from now, if you never face it. So that's the best thing anyone can do, is start operating with authenticity within their own life, take care of you, and then you can move forward from there.
Of course. And one huge thing that I've learned too as well, and if anybody wants to take notes on this, man, is document. If you can document, man, like I wish I can go back and document all the stuff that I've done in my life, man, because if you can document it, it's one thing to say it, but if you can show it to somebody and say, look, this is what I have, and you have it on paper, like saying, like, this, how much more powerful would that be? You understand what I'm saying?
Listen, I haven't thought ahead on everything, but I have this, matter of fact, I have it sitting right here. I'm gonna pull this out.
Let me see this, man.
I have this. This is a fireproof case. All right.
Jeez.
Yeah. Now I've got all my notes in here, and I don't want to pull all this out right now, but just to show you, this is my notes from all the years.
Jeez.
Struggling, right?
You got to put that somewhere else, man.
Struggling from ground zero, from less than zero, back when I was super broke, back when I was miserable. I could go on and on. Life was not what it is now. It was not good, and that, of course, that was, I had to come from that place. And I remember thinking, like, as I would realize something, it started by just writing notes, like, okay, let me try and organize my life. Because I would hear audiobooks, free audiobooks on YouTube, whatever. And one that really stuck out to me was The Strangest Secret by Earl Nightingale.
Yeah, that's a good one.
That one, it really woke me up. So I was like, okay, I got to start by taking notes. That was one thing I heard every successful person say, is like, start by taking notes. Write your goals down, write your vision down. So I've got in this bag, I've got all kinds of notes,
I don't leave home without this, man. Yeah. I don't leave home without this, man. I got it right beside me. Yeah, you have to, man. Yeah.
So you got to live by that. I mean, I don't
have to.
Pen, paper, I don't care. Whatever you got, write your thoughts down, organize your vision. And when you look back in 5 years, 10 years, and you see where you were,
the growth. You can see
my God.
It's tangible.
I almost get tears in my eyes sometimes.
Yeah,
and when I open that up and I actually look through some stuff, I'm like, I just got to take a deep breath,
Yeah, you know what I mean?
I see like my old budget, like bills. I look at bills back then and I'm like, oh my God.
I can't believe I couldn't even.
How was I making it?
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? You trust me, man. Yeah, like I have that too as well. I do my best to go back and see some of into the archive, but I was the type of guy, back then, I wish I never did this, man. I would conquer something and I'd crumple it up and throw it out. Just forget about it. Right? Which is, it's okay to do that. So you just totally forget about it and move on with your face forward, right? But having that tangible, like past, like like that, where you've come from to where you are now, you know what I
Yeah.
mean?
It's
Only
a
you know
living,
that. Only you believe it because it's here. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Try telling that story to your son. Oh yeah, I went to, that story, going to school uphill both ways, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, right.
They're not going to believe you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, they're like, whatever, dad.
Yeah,
Yeah, he's
yeah,
like 20 by then. Nah. Yeah,
yeah. You
so it's
gotta,
like a living archive. It's a piece
of
of
course.
history. And his life had, since he's been born to where things are now is a lot different.
Yeah,
So it's crazy. But yeah, I'm a firm believer in that. I'm a firm believer in notes being the medium of progress for your
yeah,
mind. And speaking of, writing these notes down and listening to these audiobooks helped me realize what for me is just a key realization and how I kind of navigate the world. And it's this. This is my own words. This was just something that came to me while I was sitting there straightening my head out one day, which is this, trying to figure out how life works. And it's my belief that present moment determines direction, meaning the action you take right now determines what happens next. Present moment determines direction. Intentions determine all of the simultaneously developing uncontrollables, otherwise known as destiny or fate. And that's something that I live by, man. That's my connection between me and the universe. And I think
of course.
whether it's religion, whether it's spiritual beliefs, you have to have something greater than yourself, something to go off of to make sense of this world. Like, how are you going to navigate? So is there anything that was like a key realization for you? Anything that stuck out, something you
Okay,
read?
that's a very good question, man. A very good question. I got goosebumps because of that question right now, man. Um, I understand that I am a spiritual being here, just enjoying this human experience, man. Like, I believe that I'm immortal, man. I tell you this right now. I believe it. I believe it. Like, you can chop my body up and throw me in the river, man. I'm coming back. I'm coming back. I'll come back. I'll come back doing greater than I did before. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? I've been, the more I feel this way, the more I talk like this, the more it comes into my life that even reminds me even more so of why I'm here and what I'm doing with these flesh and bones. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, like, I believe that I'm just a spiritual being here, enjoying this and helping this world expand, and that's why I'm here. I believe that fully, 100%. I know it. It's not even believing. I know it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And the
How
more, yes,
I was going to say, how powerful is intuition in navigating to these conclusions?
I fully trust my feelings, my inner self. Okay, put it this way: my I understand my guidance system. My guidance system is basically my feelings. So,
Yeah.
say for instance, like, it's probably, I'm going to use this as a little guidance. But so, you ever go into a room where you might not feel comfortable around somebody, or somebody walks into the room and they're like, that person just doesn't vibe. You can feel like a vibe.
Yeah.
That is your guidance system telling you, okay, maybe you shouldn't be around this person, or maybe that you should probably exit the room, whatever. You know what I'm saying? So I've learned how to trust my guidance system. So if something happens in my life that I've created, you know what I mean? And it's probably not the best feeling thing. I got to really pay attention to that and look for ways to change that so I can actually feel good about it. Do you understand what I'm saying? Does that,
Definitely.
does that make
So I
sense?
think it's like a trial and error of learning to trust
Yeah.
yourself, your
Yes. You
higher
got
self.
100%. You got to go through the crap to get
Yeah.
to know yourself, right? And that's what brings us back to childhood and vulnerability too, as well. Does that make
Yeah.
sense? Yeah,
I w- I had very much, a similar experience. It's like at first I felt a little woo woo about intuition and like, is this just coincidence? Am I just kidding myself?
Yeah.
But just trial and error with that for years, and you'll get your answer. I mean,
Oh, for sure. You'll find it.
there's something, we're learning more and more about the human body, the human brain every day. And
Of
they've
course.
recently found that we have what are called magnetite crystals in like our prefrontal cortex, something that we weren't aware that the human brain actually had. It was speculated, but this interacts the same way. It's the same thing birds and animals, different animals use to navigate, to sense danger. There's some electromagnetic interaction between our body and other people, other animals, other external circumstances. So it's scientifically being proven more and more that we have not just a sixth sense, but multiple
Oh
senses
man,
that we don't fully understand.
we don't even know. Like
Yeah,
we don't know until we won't know until things happen where we have to know. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't even know how to explain that, but there's a certain things like I've even looked up and researched like third eye. Having a third eye or
yeah,
these things with the human brain. Like we have to understand that the human brain is a goal-seeking organism, man, and that's what we're doing. We're trying to find out what we're not using. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
You know what I mean?
We're here to
So
create. We're here to
we're here to
create.
create. Yeah, and it all starts with a thought, man. It all starts with thoughts.
That's it.
So and what I'm learning to do is choosing the right ones. You know what I mean? Because when people say, stay present, stop thinking, I don't believe that you can stop thinking. I believe that you're constantly thinking. I believe that have a conveyor belt of thoughts, and you have to reach in and grab which thought and get rid of the thoughts that you don't want and utilize the thoughts that serve you the best, right?
That's it, man.
Yeah, for sure.
Ensure what will be with what is now.
100%.
That's that's one of my go-tos. I live off of these. I have like certain ones. Those are my handholds, like
Yeah,
a rock wall. You got to have something to hold on to in order to climb. So
of course,
find
of
your
course.
handholds and look up, move where you look where you want to go. So what are a few things that you value most in all your experience and where you're at now? What
I
are a
value
few
people.
things?
The one thing I value, obviously, I value myself 100%. Like I look at myself and I give praise to myself, man, because you got to love yourself, right? Number one, um, and people, man, like people are like, I just love being around people. Like I love like the value that other people have to offer. You know what I mean? That's what helps growth. That's what helps promote growth in this universe, is having other beings around. You know what I mean? And sharing their experiences. You know what I mean? I learned how to. I'm learning how to look for the good in every experience. You know what I mean? If something happens, you got to find, there has to be some good in it, man.
Yeah,
I know it sounds, and it's going to sound to the person probably listening right now, they're gonna be like, what the heck is this guy talking about? Somebody gets hit by a car, how is that good? Child dies, how is that good? You know what I mean? But there's some kind of good that comes out of any situation, right? And you have to really, I think us as humans, man, this is why we're here. This is how the universe is going to expand. And if we actually come together and understand that there's good in every situation, you know what I'm saying? Does that make sense?
absolutely. And it's been told in many forms, but I just think carrying that mindset of gratitude,
Yeah,
I'm not going to go into it on this one, but I've got a set of affirmations that I just use to keep myself grounded, keep myself focused in the right direction,
of
and you
course.
got to have something that keeps your balance, keeps you in that right mind frame where you can look at anything that's going on in your life and find the good in it, find the opportunity, you know
Exactly.
and
Yes.
I
Looking for
look back at the
opportunity.
worst times and I made the most progress during those
Of
times
course.
just because it's a matter of choice. You can choose to dig deep, and see opportunity, or you have nothing to lose, so you might as well go all in. And you got to do that, man. And life happens in cycles. So
For
that's
sure.
powerful stuff.
One thing that that adds great value to my life, and I value a great deal, is appreciation too, as well, right? I've learned how to just appreciate the little finer things in life, especially with when it comes to business, uh, being able to, run my own business, being able to have a business that deals with people, you know what I mean? And just being able to appreciate, finding things to appreciate is something that's very, very important to me too, as well, because one of the most highest vibrational things in this world is being able to appreciate, right?
Yeah.
Love and appreciation are the both highest, I believe, right?
I mean, that's both philosophically true and scientifically true when you
Yeah,
measure the vibrations. Yeah, that's absolutely correct. So
100%.
what's one of your go-to mantras? What's something you go back to in your own mind when things get tough, when you experience failure? How do you navigate through that?
um I'm doing it right now. I like to laugh. I honestly, for some odd reason, like ever since I was younger, like we'd hang out, whatever, and I'd bring it back to like even getting in trouble with the law. And I always if I got in trouble, I'd just laugh, man. I
Yeah.
would laugh. I would laugh, but it would be to the point of like, okay, well, when do I stop laughing now? Because we have to stop. Because, like, you know what I mean? And
Yeah.
that's something that's a tool that I use. And I know it's just a subconscious thing. Um, yeah, that's something that laughing is something that's very, very important to me, man. Because I'm on the tip of always trying to do my best to feel good, right? So that's something that I go back to a lot. I also go back to where I came from. If something's hard now, I'd ask myself, I'd be like, okay, it's hard now. First of all, look where I've came from, look where I used to be, and look where I am now. And I look at between those two situations or the time period, I'll be like, okay, there's a lot more hardship and failure that I've gone through to get me to this point now. You know what I mean? It can't be
Yeah.
this hard. And I'd look at some other people, for instance, like, I'd see, some of the billionaires out there, they'd look at the situation I'm in right now. If I was in a bad situation right now, and it'd be so minuscule.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? It would be a
They'd be
tiny,
laughing. Yeah.
it'd be a speck. So, like you have to really analyze and really ask yourself, is it worth even, you know, crying over? You know what I mean? Is it worth it? Like there's people out there that are worse off.
Yeah.
There's
So
people out
just
there, like
controlling that perspective, just putting it
yeah,
back into perspective to say, I've been through worse, or look, you know, he,
of
she,
course.
they have been through much worse. This is nothing. And
You
that
know what
kind
I
of,
mean? It's
yeah,
nothing if you look at it. Like I deal with charity, you know what I mean? Like one of the charities we're working with right now, I'm not going to mention the name, but it's dealing with girls in third world countries that that are going through some terrible, terrible, terrible things in some of the countries that women aren't respected.
yeah,
You know what I mean? And just because you're a girl, you know what I mean? So
right,
like if you look at that and you look at some of the problems that we have here in North America, man, that's nothing. It's
yeah,
nothing, man. It's nothing, man. You know what I mean? Like I did a podcast with a guy. He said, like some of these people, they have gratitude journals, but it's easy to talk about what you're grateful here in a first world country. You know what I mean?
yeah,
If you were to give a gratitude journal to somebody that's in Sierra Leone, in the middle of the slum, like, and they can find something to be grateful for, then, what I'm saying?
yeah.
Yeah, man. So
I definitely respect that. And I mean, to be able to find, to to build the habit, first of all, because it's like a muscle, you have to practice it to
of
find that
course,
habit of finding value in anything, and being able to shift your perspective. It only empowers you, and in the long run, when you empower you, you put yourself in a position to empower everyone else. So I see that in you. I see that in your mission. I want to throw a quick speed round at you and ask you to name what are 5 people that have influenced your development? Just rattle the names off. You know, these could be authors, they could be speakers, whatever it may be, athletes. It doesn't really matter.
I would say Martin Luther King, Grant Cardone, Esther and Jerry Hicks, Babe Ruth. I'm a baseball man. I'm a baseball guy, man. I love baseball.
Yeah. One more.
You got me out. That was a good one, man. I would say Emeril Lagasse, man. I love food, man. Emeril Lagasse is a good guy.
Okay.
Yeah. You know who he is, right? You know who Emeril Lagasse is?
Yeah, I've seen him.
Yeah, he's good. That's just the top of my head, right?
That's cool. I like that. All right. Well, we've been going for a while. I want to give you an opportunity before we sign off here. Is there anything else you'd like to say to those listening, someone who may be out there struggling? They may be at 0. They may be lower than 0 right now. What do you want to leave them with before we go?
Well, you know what? If you're feeling you're at 0, everything starts at 0, man. Everything starts at 0, man. You know, like if you look at the World Trade Center, ground 0, now there's 2 taller buildings. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, we got to make sure that you are just, you know, understanding that, you know, life is, if you're not failing, man, then there's a problem. You're not working hard enough. You know what I mean? If you feel like it's too easy, then it's too easy. You're not working hard enough, man. Failure requires work, and work, you know, the more work you put in, the harder it's going to get. You know what I mean? But that hardship is creating growth. You know what I mean? You got to grow. If you're not growing, you're dying. Bottom line. Yeah, definitely.
Good stuff, man. Well, Daniel, thank you for being on here. Thank you for taking the time, you know, to sit down and have this conversation. I think people will find great value in this. And if that's it, man, we're gonna sign off.
You know what,
here.
man? Honestly, man, I'd love to do this again with you, man. I'd you know, I'm looking forward to it. If you want to do it again, we can definitely do it.
Oh yeah,
man, you know,
absolutely,
for sure.
You're always welcome. I wish I could stay longer.
Yeah.
I'll have to come on your podcast as well.
Yeah, for sure, man. You know, for sure, buddy. I would love to have you on there. We could talk, you know. I wish I could stay for 2 hours. I feel like this conversation could have gone for another hour and a half, 2 hours, man, for sure.
For sure. You know what I mean? Well, we'll save it. Really we'll come back. We'll definitely have more in the future. Thank you for everyone listening, ladies and gentlemen. That is it. And you know the closing mantra, you have the power. You are the solution. Resist, defy, object. Take care of your world.